One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back. It's nighttime and you don't know what to eat and you're sitting at home and you're confused and that one bead of sweat is coming down the top of your forehead and you're freaking out. Stop. It's okay. Listen to me. Yeah, no, for real.
What am I going to do?
You're going to go check out Fire on the Mountain. If you live in Portland or Denver, Portland has 3 locations. Denver has 2. They got you covered with the most delicious food you ever have put in your hands to go into your mouth. Ever, period. That's it.
Well,
This
I
is
finally
true.
got that Nashville hot chicken sandwich that I've been lusting after for the last 2 weeks. And
What'd you think?
it was freaking amazing. And I'm not talking about that just because, no, it was amazing. Every bite.
The beads of sweat on my brow.
I ate it cold and it was still as good as when it was hot.
Damn.
It's a beads of sweat themed
It-
restaurant as well.
Amazing.
Yes.
And it was huge
It
too.
was huge.
That was a huge sandwich.
And I ate almost the whole thing.
Yeah. And then I'm going to make a correction here. My favorite thing that they make is pickle spears.
Thank you.
Yes, I got it right that
I
time.
wish I had the
Their pickle
applause queued up.
spears are so darn good. If you like deep fried pickles, usually they do places do the pickle nickels. The spears are so amazing. They're so juicy when you bite into them. And we went there and dined, like Mel said, this weekend. This time I tried the Jamaican jerk is one of my favorites. And then this time I tried the spicy peanut sauce, which is amazing. I'm not a real spicy person, but it was worth it.
I think you're spicy.
It's sweet, spicy, peanutty, and it's augmented with fresh jalapenos. It's a Thai-style peanut sauce. Oh my God, it was so good.
So check this out. If you're a vegan or vegetarian and you're like, I just fell asleep, I don't care about chicken wings, they have tons of salad options for you, and they have vegan wings, or vegetarian wings. Sorry, I don't think those are vegan.
Then also too, because I know I worked in restaurants, people that like hot wings dare you to try to catch their face on fire.
Check the El Jefe out.
The El Jefe is loaded with jalapeno, habanero peppers, and they finish it off with a hefty pour of what is it, capsaicin? Mm-hmm. Capsaicin extract.
Oh, dude.
To up it a notch. It says delicious, painful, and doubles as bear repellent.
So check this out. If you don't live in Portland or Denver and you're sad right now, don't be sad. Go to portlandwings.com and you can pick up a bunch of the sauces there. You can also get your gear there, like hoodies and
those
t-shirts.
dope socks that they just came out with.
Hey, they have new Fire on the Mountain socks. So go check it out. portlandwings.com or FOTM PDX or FOTM Denver on Instagram. Fire on the Mountain, Grateful Dead family, owned and operated. April 19th.
April 19th.
Through the 23rd.
Through the 23rd.
In Ventura, California. On the beach. Apple's favorite.
Oh, yes, the beach. There is a beach.
Join No Simple Road April 19th through the 28th.
No,
23rd.
Third. That's a long time.
That would be a long ass
That's a
festival.
really.
We're
not going to be there that
years
long.
to come because
No.
it does keep on growing.
Well, I said it right the first time.
April 19th through the 23rd in Ventura, California.
Yeah.
For Skull and Roses 5, the most amazing Grateful Dead tribute festival on the planet. You can join us. No Simple Road there. Phil and Friends, O'Teal, Dark Star Orchestra, Sages in Spirit. Help me
Melvin
out, Apple.
Seals and JGB, Circles Around the Sun, Leftover Salmon, Grateful Shred.
Wait,
Boombox, Jerry's Middle Finger, Cubensis,
Dogs in a
China
Pile?
Cats, Dogs in a Pile.
I'm really excited about seeing Boombox and Dogs in a Pile there.
so here's the deal. This is 5 days of music down on the beach with an expanded shakedown. They even have an Oasis area this year to keep you cool and keep you rolling this year.
Heck yeah.
And we're going to be there. That's right. So go to skullandroses.com and get yourself some tickets. They got all kinds of packages right now. They got VIP packages. They have passes for all the days, and they have deals with the hotels around there if you're looking for somewhere to stay. They also have Grateful Dead style camping in the lot. You know what happens in the lot.
And
I don't
check
tell
out
you.
the wall of sound that they are doing.
Wall of News.
Wall of News. Wall of Sound News.
Wow, you're all over the place tonight.
I am all over-
Sound's going to
You know
happen
what?
on
You're
the
right.
28th. So just stick around for that.
Mel's bringing the Wall of Sound on the 28th.
No, but check it out. They're doing a lot of really good work with the bands and putting stories up about Skull and Roses and everybody that's going to be there. So
That is wallofnews.love.
Wall of News.
So if you just forgot everything I said, what you can do is you can go to nosimpleroad.com and there's a banner on there and you can click on it. It'll take you to skullandroses.com and you can get your tickets. Come hang out with us on the beach at the famous Ventura County Fair.
Also, one last thing. If you are from the Portland area and you're going to be down there, our own hometown heroes, Garcia Birthday
Oh,
Band,
that's right.
are going to be kicking off the festivities on 4/20.
All right. You heard it here first, folks. Well, probably not first, but whatever. You get the idea. Skull and Roses. If you're wondering what to wear to Skull and Roses, you know what you should do? You should go to shoptourbus.com and hook yourself up with some fresh duds, man. Grateful Dead inspired tees that you're not going to find on the lot anywhere on the planet. The only lot you're going to find them on is the digital lot online at shoptourbus.com.
that's right. And Aaron just freshened up my wardrobe with a new My Love is Bigger Than a Cadillac hoodie. So I'm going to be sporting that at Skull and Roses.
Your love is bigger than a Cadillac, Mel. That's why
Thank
I got
you.
it for
That's
you.
why I wanted it, because I knew that it was.
And if you want to get one of their awesome estimated tees, they only have a few left, and those come with a 5-inch holographic die-cut vinyl sticker and California vibes, and a portion of those proceeds are going towards the West Coast disaster relief.
Oh, that's dope.
Right on.
So whatever you order is going to come in an all-over printed box. I think right now they're doing the St. Stephen design for the boxes, and it's going to have all kinds of extras on the inside, and some of you are going to get a Miracle Grateful Dead cassette bootleg in
Bootlegs.
your order.
Bootleg.
And you're getting free shipping because you're part of the No Simple Road family. Put in the promo code No Simple Road, all one word, and our friends at Shop Tour Bus are going to give you free shipping. So go to shoptourbus.com or at Shop Tour Bus online. Use the promo code No Simple Road.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like O'Teal Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp, happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongssummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongssummercamp.com/simple. Check it out. It's not hard, man. It really isn't. It wouldn't be hard to make a company successful by making your employees happy.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you make them happy, and then they want to stay around.
Yeah.
And then you got a tight crew.
And they feel more invested in it because they are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I own something, if I borrow your car, I might return it with gas in it.
Maybe.
I probably would. But if I own the car, I'm going to go get the oil changed. I'm going to go do all the stuff.
Yes,
'cause
you
I
are.
want it to be nice, man.
Well, if you're good, you're going to do both to both.
Hey, now.
Good to both.
No Simple Road family. This is Aaron.
This is Mel.
This is Apple.
And we have a special guest in the studio today.
I'm Simon.
This is our son, Mel and I.
Simon.
Little baby boy.
Welcome
who's not
to
a
No
baby
Simple
boy anymore.
Road in your own house.
It's not true. I'm taller than her, so I'm technically not a baby boy.
That's true.
He's been one of my best
Well,
friends since he was a kid.
This
You
is
are
true.
my baby, Simon. I still think about you like, I don't treat you like that, but I still think about you.
Well,
like,
Well, it's
Debatable.
debatable, yeah.
I don't mind it. You know, it's a mom thing.
So before we get into Simon being here, I just want to tell you, everybody, that this week on No Simple Road, our guest is the amazing Graham Yarrington.
Sorry, babe. I got a little.
It's okay. You got ahead of me.
I did
It's
get
cool.
ahead
Do
of
it.
you.
Go
Excited.
I was excited about Graham.
She is excited.
Graham, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for reaching out to be on the show. Thank you for sending us the most beautiful, perfectly mixed artwork of me and Aaron. Is what when I look at that Steely that you sent with the Ohm symbol and the Steely, I feel like it's a mixture of both of us.
And apples, the little rainbow surrounding all of
yeah, it's great. Anyway, I love it.
I've often described Apple as a little rainbow.
Too.
it. Sure, whatever. Apple. No, Graham, I was completely blown away when I opened that. Like,
Yeah, we were.
the paper that it's on, just the whole thing. Thank you, man. And for everybody out there, if you don't know who Graham is, go follow him on Instagram. Go check out his website. Just Google his name. You know what to do. You don't need me to tell you. But this is the artist behind like the new Jerry Garcia Hampton box set. He's the guy that did the art for this. I have to say a special thank you to our brother Brady. Without Brady introducing me to who Graham was, this wouldn't have happened. And we definitely made a new member of the No Simple Road family through this conversation. And I think you guys are really, really, really going to dig this. But
Yeah, and when he's done posters for My Morning Jacket, Phish, he's building his repertoire, and I like that this is to you, Graham. I like 3 days ago you posted part of an old painting called Mother's Spore and asked, how about the newest episode of Last of Us? Dude, I dig that show. I'm glad you do too. And he's got his latest painting up, his first painting of the new year. I love what he says too. It's taking him a little bit long. He's a little bit slower because he has an adorable new puppy to look after.
I know. I was like, we need to go to a show sometime. He's like, well, yeah, we do, but I just got a puppy. So
God does. Puppers need love and care.
all right. So everybody, if you're new to No Simple Road or you've never like listened to the older episodes of the show, I'm going to catch you up on something. For those of you that are No Simple Road people that have been around forever, you'll understand this.
yeah.
But this show wouldn't be happening right now if it wasn't for Simon.
That's, I guess, true. I didn't really think of it that way, but yes, that's true. I'm a venture capitalist.
You have definite stake in the show.
He was our first investor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, mom's money was really. I was
Thank
a
you.
child.
Thank you,
No,
Simon.
you don't say that. You saved your money really hard.
I did. I
Doing chores.
I raked yards or gutters.
Simon, can you bring us back to that moment? Do you remember it?
I do remember it. My dad, as some of you may know, he was always talking about how cool it'd be to start a podcast back when podcasts kind of weren't that big of a deal. And I thought it was a cool idea too. So went to Best Buy, saw a blue snowball, I believe was the mic. That was
That's
the
it.
first one. Got him that, and he just started doing it on his own. And I was like, this is cool. This is exactly what I wanted him to do. And he clearly likes his gift.
It worked.
I mean-
so wait, you're the conductor. So Simon would kind of be a semiconductor.
No, I'm like because I was going to say I'm like the people that shovel the coal in the back of the,
Mhm.
Maybe like a
train,
In this
transistor
instance,
or
he
so.
would be the coal shoveler.
which sucks.
Well,
Bad job.
I would think in this, he would be like the Patreon, like giving
Yeah.
you the, like, you're
He's
right.
our
the
patron.
Yes, our
He's our
patron.
Simon, our patron saint.
It's
Yeah.
not really a train
Yeah.
position, but
Yeah.
The train
there's
patron.
3 employees on a train.
Santos,
There's Patreon.
Santo Simon.
What is it?
Okay, so it's Patreon, conductor, coal shoveler.
Okay. Yeah. And without the Patreon guys, none of that shit happens.
And what are
falls
those
apart.
people that believe in you?
Believers?
Friends and family.
I like that, but believers.
How many ways can we say that?
No, seriously, man. Like, think about that for a minute. It was like a little over 5 years ago. Think about how much that one gift changed all of our lives.
Wow.
Can't even.
It's wild to think about, right?
It really is, especially, because the amount of people that you've met and the amount of exposure that you've gotten. I was like, oh, he talks about this thing, so we'll like let him see if it's really cool, and it was really cool.
Yeah. It's a trip to me to think about, like, in life there's pivotal moments, like when you have a kid, or you graduate high school or college,
Move out.
Yeah, that kind of shit. And, like, honest to God, as far as finding my path in life, that one thing that you did helped me figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up at 45 years old.
Well, shit, man, you did that for me my whole life because you're my dad. You walked me through fucking everything, so
Yeah.
it's the least I could do.
Yeah.
That's a really big impact. I'm thinking, like, as you're talking about it, I'm
You've
thinking
never
about.
thought about that?
Well, not that deep. I've thought about it before because I went with him. I was a huge part of it. I was part of every aspect of it. But when you think about, like, what you just said, like, there's so many people that have benefited from that one gift purchase.
Everybody needs an outlet, and Dad didn't really. I mean, he did have his drawing and he had his art and stuff like that, which is cool. But this is him. This is the outlet that best expresses him, and it was. I'd do it again. I'd buy him another microphone.
Heck yeah, dude.
Well, there's
And
this
you
really
get the-
expensive one.
and what you did, like, now you're sitting here, Simon. This is awesome. Kind of full circle, almost 6 years later, coming up this July that we've been doing this.
Wow.
Yeah,
How
6
much it has
years.
helped us. Like, this is therapy for me and your mom and
It's
dad.
5 years. 5 years.
Oh, 5 years. Okay.
Wait.
No, it's 6
17
years.
to
We
18,
started.
18 to 19.
We'll be back in 20 minutes. Aaron. Let's do
Yeah.
the
Wow.
math.
6 years. Holy shit.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because we're coming up on 7 years of living here.
Yeah.
Check out the wall of sound on the 28th.
Oh my
Fuck
God.
yeah, Simon.
but what you did, like your dad was just saying, it has helped so many people. So many of our listeners reach out, especially through the pandemic thing.
Oh, yeah.
It
I'd
provided a
imagine. Shout
lot
out
to
Gretel.
everybody, and it's made us kind of discover what we're going to be doing in the future and everything.
I'm
Like what you
glad.
did is amazing. I also appreciate like Simon was never like when we were listening to Dad when he was growing up, it was never really your thing, but you were like a lot of kids sometimes when their mom and dads do stuff they don't like, they're kind of a dick about it or something, or like what you were always just like, that's their thing. And then for you to come full circle to be like, they sit out here and talk all the time about this stuff, and there's other people who are interested. Here you go, Dad. Here's a gift. Take it to the people. And then he ran with it, dude. Thank you, Simon.
Of course, it's really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, you changed my life.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
For real, dude.
Yeah.
Well, he did that multiple times.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, not more than once.
No, like I'll tell you the most important way this is the most important. You turned him out of a junkie and into a person who
I don't think Dad was using him like
No.
5 years
Whoa.
ago.
No, I'm talking
I
about
was talking about podcasting.
I'm talking about way back
Shit.
in the day. I'm talking
okay,
about
okay.
like you being born made him turn into somebody that was
I can't take
responsible.
credit for the born part.
No, but, like,
That was all us,
Yeah,
dude.
that was you guys.
Your presence, like you coming out into the world, out of my stomach and literally into the world, made
Is that real? Or I thought it was like stork or
no.
something.
Well, this
When a mommy and a daddy love
Well,
themselves.
no, like you helped change him, like whip him into shape in the best kind of a way, you know. And yeah, you didn't really have any control over that, but your being, yourness made that happen.
Yeah, it did. It
You know,
For sure.
yeah, right. Like
I mean,
that.
just finding out that you were pregnant. I didn't know it was a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Or,
Going on over there.
Yeah.
Darwin's digging on his
Tripping
bed.
out. He's breaking
Yeah.
stuff
But
over.
when I found that out, it was like, oh shit.
You saved Dad's life too.
Yeah. And then you helped me figure out what I wanted to be.
Well,
And
this is very sweet, you guys. It's like
Warm and
Stop,
fuzzies.
oh, please. Stop.
Wait. Okay, then to top it off, Simon is one of the best cooks I have known in a long time. Simon throws down on like right now. The entire house smells like this. He's making some bomb curry dish that's simmering while we're down here recording. And what do you say? It's like, well, I just wanted to give you guys some love.
Yeah,
and like,
that's how
what
I
better?
express. Yeah, that's how I express my
Since you
love.
were a kid, I remember I used to like babysit Sydney and Simon when they were younger, and it was always more like them babysitting me. They took care of themselves, and Simon,
he still is babysitting.
Simon was
you,
cooking
dude.
and doing his old thing at like 5-6 years
Yep.
old. And I remember going to restaurants too, and they'd bring the kid menu.
Oh no.
No way.
Simon would get
No
so
kid
upset.
menu.
He'd be like, I am not eating like that bullshit on the kids menu. Bring me the grown-up menu.
Here's the thing.
You
though,
were
with
never
that.
having
Let
it.
him talk.
Well, I
Here's-
just gonna, and Simon's one of my favorite things about Simon's an adventure person when it comes to food. We've gone to so many places and we order. Simon will try anything like I will.
Yeah, except
Like,
for
let's
bugs.
give it a shot.
I will never let a bug near my mouth. Anyway,
What's the thing with the kids menu?
well, here's the thing, man. Every kid's menu is gonna have a few things. It's gonna have, PB&J, grilled cheese, maybe some chicken tenders if you're lucky. I don't want all that shit. The good food, the different tastes are on the grown up stuff. So even if I get one bite of the grown up stuff, it's better than a dumb grilled cheese that I could make at 5.
Uh-huh.
I can make that at home. It's fine. But back to the podcast thing. I mean, it's just nice to see you guys having fun. Like this genuinely is fun for you guys.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. This okay.
Yes.
On the
Simon.
fun meter, if the fun meter's like 1 to 10, this is like 50,000 that you've given us with this. I'm just like, I'm sitting here thinking about it, like all the people that we've met, all the trips that we've taken, all both that and
There's all
physical,
kinds of trips.
Mental and physical.
mental
yes.
and physical, all the music that we've seen, all the experiences that we've had, all the people, friends that have come into our lives,
Posters.
stickers,
Yeah.
shirts, all that, like it filled our life up
Yeah.
Yeah.
with really fucking amazing stuff. Like
Yes.
the most top level.
So many
experiences.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Opportunities to like meet people, go to places we never would have. Pennsylvania, we never would have gone to Pennsylvania.
Park, what,
yeah,
for
like
what?
even New York, maybe we would have gone, but not for that reason. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different things that it's like brought into our life that we couldn't have even pretended to bring or made up to bring into our life.
Even thought of.
And all of you out there listening, like all the emails that we've gotten from people that say like, oh, I listened to the show and it helped me through the pandemic, or like, oh, I'm with you every week and it's nice to have your company, or whatever. You should take a minute and just like wherever you are, give a little clap for Simon, because this wouldn't be happening.
Simon.
without him.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
You guys are part of the family straight up. The listeners of No Simple Road are a new part of this family straight up.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
No other way to.
And I know that's
got
gotten on your nerves a little bit over the years,
That's all right.
time to time.
It's all right.
You're like, fuck, another band is
Yeah.
coming to stay with us. I just want to be home alone.
I don't want to present all cool because there's some
Well, now
band
I
here.
look-
I just want to go to work.
Like
You know.
Simon introduced brought this to Aaron and all of us and everything. It's kind of like reverse parenting. He raised us, made sure that we had a career and everything, then he moved out to do his thing.
All right, you guys are
good?
fine.
Yeah, you good? No,
You're
but that's
good?
another.
Okay.
That's another thing with like the. I mean, Dad has a day job, obviously, and that blows. Day jobs blow. If you guys don't know, not to get too anti-capitalist on everything, but having that fulfillment outside of work and having a thing to do that isn't work but is in the way that you're benefiting from it that way is super super important, and that's not something that everybody gets. Somebody may make a cutting board or whatever once and sell it, but that's not what I'm talking about. This is a real thing that you can continue to do as long as you didn't lose your voice.
Yeah, no, and we're
That's a good point.
And
Yeah.
like Apple was just saying, we're 6 years in, and I feel like just now we're getting our legs under us. Like I feel like this year is I feel growth in the show that I've never felt before. For whatever reason,
I have to agree with you on that. It feels brand
it
new.
feels new.
But it feels like we're not pitching something that nobody's ever heard of. We're on experience. Like this is this is our body of work, and people want to be a part of that now.
Yeah,
This
Where
is the
before,
resume.
yeah, this is before we were like explaining and kind of showing what we were doing and making it up. To be honest,
we're still making it
we're
up.
still making it up, but like now it's made up already. You can look at what we've done, and now we can expand, and people want to be a part of it, and it's really something that I'm get proud of more and more every day.
No Simple Road coming to Netflix 2024. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you never know.
That's where the money stops,
The
man. They don't
reality.
give dividends to nobody.
Oh shit! Well, then never mind.
Yeah, we'll go to Hulu or something.
We'll produce our own reality show
There it
or
is.
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So Simon, just thanks, man.
Of course.
Thanks for being a bomb ass kid.
Thanks for being a bomb ass dad. There'd be no
Yeah.
me without you.
That's this
I
is
got to
true.
add it. I said it on the show before, but not with Simon here and stuff. I have the extreme pleasure of I get to relive my friendship. Simon is so much like his dad.
Not weird to hear, Simon, because you feel like so
it's weird.
individual.
kind of like
Yeah.
the green sky bluegrass on new and improved. Simon's kind of me and Aaron did a lot of shit together when we didn't have our heads on straight. Simon's got a good head on his shoulders. He's learned a lot from his mom and dad and has carried that on. Like I said, he's one of my best friends, and I get to relive things. Sometimes he does things so much that remind me of Aaron when he was his age. It's like having a best friend all over again.
That's very
And I
sweet,
still
Apple.
have my
Thank you.
old man friend as we grow old
Hey,
together.
man, I ain't no old man.
Yeah, we're
I'm a middle-aged.
as you're growing
Dude.
old. Okay, just leave out the old though. Just growing old together.
Yeah,
man-
it's growing
man
older.
friend, yeah.
How about that? We're
Yeah,
getting older.
But
Yeah.
I love you, Schaefers.
Thanks.
I love you.
All of you. You
Yeah.
too, Sid.
Oh,
Yeah, Sib, we need you here too.
we do need you here, Sid.
And
But
to lighten up the mood a bit, punch comes from a Sanskrit word meaning 5. And that's referring to the drink punch. So I've been looking at this
Oh.
book here with a nice, delicious 5-spice punch recipe.
what book, Simon, are you looking at?
Oh, actually, the title is very hard to parse where it is because there's a lot of words on it, but The Edible Beat, I believe, is what it is
Yep,
called.
it is
Yeah.
the zine put out by the Edible Beats, which is our collaborator for our weekly rewind, and that is the zine that they do, and it's a dope ass cookbook. There's some recipes in there. There's like a caramel lollipop thing in the back. It's
Okay.
really,
There's not
really
actually
My-
food in the back, but I.
no,
my
it's not
dad-
jam between the pages.
and there's drinks as well, which is super important for me. You
My
also
dad
drink.
ordered it, and he did I think it's it's the ribs recipe that's in there. My dad made that and said it was amazing.
Yeah. So everybody, that's Simon.
I just want to.
This is actually, hang on. This is the first time in 6 years that he's graced us with his voice on the microphone.
Ever.
That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say to everybody who's a avid listener of No Simple Road. You understand what a big milestone this is for us to have Simon on the show.
I don't even. But you guys do.
We do.
The listeners, you'll understand. Like, this is a big deal, and it's not like, oh, we could never have Simon on. He lived with us, of course, but you're gone now, and you're living your own life, and like you can be a little bit more reflective because you're not here. And you just continue to bring us like gifts with your presence, and I'm so grateful to have you.
Gifts with your presence.
Yeah,
Get it?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's good.
got
That's
it. I was
good.
being good.
That was
but
good.
you know, and I've known ever since you were little that you were my guru, and I've always said that to you. And I just want to say thank you for helping me grow up as a parent and as a person.
Mm,
Of course.
that's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. We got all the emotional stuff out the way.
But I think it was like perfect to do this on Graham's episode specifically.
This episode actually does start off heavy.
Yeah. So Graham, I just want to thank you for being on the show, because once we saw you on the Zoom call, it just made me feel so happy that we were doing the interview, and then seeing your art that's both cute and a little spooky and heavy, but also lighthearted, and so meaningful. I'm just really great to know you and to start off our year with you. So thank you, Graham.
We're gonna get you all. I know that was a long intro, but it's a special occasion. We're gonna get you to the interview. We're gonna do the business real quick, and then we're gonna get you to the interview with Graham. Follow No Simple Road on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at No Simple Road. Go to www.nosimpleroad.com. That's where you can find out all the information about the show. You can sign up for a tarot reading with Mel and I with the
That's
Grateful
right.
Dead Tarot deck. You can sign
Get
up
our
for the
merch.
newsletter. You can get merch. There's all kinds of fun stuff. There's our calendar of events is up there. So
There's our bios now.
yeah, that too.
Ooh, we do have
if
new
you
bios.
Want to find out where we're going to be and come party with us? That's where you go.
Oh.
Calendar of events at nosimpleroad.com. Or you can go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. Now check this out. Producer Corey has been working his ass off behind the scenes, producing content for our Patreon page.
Yep.
And so there is a joke of the week now. He's taking surveys and getting ideas from all of you that are our patrons. He is also doing Side Roads, and I'm going to play you a little clip from Side Roads right now.
I was born on a side road. Far, 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 far,
You talked about your first psychedelic experience?
On the show? No,
Yeah, I'm sure
I
you've
don't-
talked about it with.
I don't think so. I don't.
If it's too
No.
personal, we don't have to
No,
go there.
it's not. It's fucked up, but it's not too personal. It's
Okay.
I was 12.
So that's young, yeah.
And I have 4 older brothers, and 2 of them were I looked up to two of them a lot.
Okay.
Both of them were really involved in the punk rock scene in the early 80s in Vegas.
What's the age difference between you and these brothers?
You know, I think one brother's like 7 years older than me and one was like 12.
Oh,
or
okay.
11 years.
Yeah.
And
So if you're 12, they're like young adults at this point.
so hang on, let me figure this out. I was 12. So yeah, my brother Eric was like 6 years older and my brother Martin was like 8 years older.
Okay. All right.
Let's go there. And so yeah, they were like 18 to 21 ish. And they were going to the movies one night. We were at my dad's house and I wanted to go with them as little brothers do, you know?
Yeah.
And my brother Eric was like, if you come with us, you have to eat this piece of paper.
What the?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. I had no fucking
Yeah. You're like
no
what's
frame of reference.
piece of paper. Sure.
Fine. You're gonna take me to the
I want to
movie?
hang out with my big brother and see the movie.
And we went to go see Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And that is Side Roads. If you become a Patreon supporter, you have access to that exclusive content now. So there will
Sweet.
be interviews with three of us, and I guess that's going to be an ongoing thing on there.
Well, I think maybe he was trying to like have a piece, but once you start talking about if you want to go to somebody's childhood, it's too long.
Yeah. And
It's
we
too
all
much
have a lot of
information.
stories.
Yeah.
Three of us have a lot of stories.
Oh my gosh.
And then also we are going to be interviewing some local Grateful Dead cover bands and other interesting stuff. So
yeah.
go over to Patreon. That's the bottom line. Oh, also there's the Discord server. If you're a $5 or more supporter on Patreon, you are part of the Discord server. So go check that out too. And before we leave the Patreon portion of the intro, I have to shout out John B.
Ooh, John B.
John B.
Shout out.
Look.
Up in his pledge. What?
John B upped his pledge to $50 a month on Patreon.
That's a bill.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
brother.
That's a bill.
I'm talking about
Oh.
if somebody believes in you, it's John B. believing in No Simple Road.
Believing?
Believing.
John
That's
B.
not a word.
I like that word.
It
That's
is
not a word.
It's what John does.
It is what John does.
Well, John
Mel has
doesn't just
spoken.
believe.
John
He has a
B.
Mel has
different way of
spoken.
doing it.
John B. believing.
Okay, anyway, thank you, John.
B.
We
Believing
love you, man.
aside, yeah.
Thank you, brother, for believing in No Simple Road.
And I'm really excited to do your special thing. It will be out.
It's ominous, but
yeah.
No, you're going to be getting
I
a
like
care
to-
package from the porch. Dude.
Yeah, he's getting a care package.
Well, if you want to do something that doesn't involve dollars and cents, that's sad. But you can go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a
Podcasts.
review.
Please.
And
No new review this week, but thanks again to Ben, who was
Yeah,
our
last
brought it
week.
home right at the end of the month
Fuck
with
yeah,
an
man.
amazing review. But
In
guess
Gunnerston,
what?
Colorado.
It's reset now. It is
February.
February,
And it's your
so
turn,
Please,
you.
somebody give us a February one.
hey, you with the hair, your turn.
You know what? You're Graham Yarrington's friend and you're listening to this podcast and you're excited to hear this interview and you're like, oh shit, I've never listened to No Simple Road before, but I'm listening to this because Graham's my friend. You're the person who's going to go to Apple
And you're like-
Podcasts and type in a review. Yo, dope interview with my friend Graham. Thank you so much. Here's your February review. That's what's going to happen.
do once a month.
And then when you're done leaving that review, then you can go over and dial up that tepid line.
971-808-1524. That number again is 971-808-1524. Operators are not standing by. It's a Google voice line. So there's a machine somewhere, a server.
And the beautiful thing about that is it's 24 hours a day. We've gotten a few of our best ones from people calling in at like 2 a.m. or
That's
something.
right.
Like just
Get
when you
creative.
feel like you need to get something off your chest or share a joke or a story, whatever, hit us up. We love to hear them.
Get naked. Call the tepid line. Scream at the stars.
Get
you
crazy.
can do it.
Whoa.
You can do all this
Burn
stuff.
the place down, Pookie.
Don't waste
Oh.
food.
Don't waste food. That's
Don't
a good.
you dare waste
yeah.
food.
So here you are. You're 36 minutes into the show, and you're like, we haven't even gotten to the interview yet. Well, guess what?
Welcome to old school No Simple
Yeah,
Road.
no shit. We used to go for like an hour and a half.
That's right.
Well, here we go. Ready, everybody? 3. Wait. Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Graham Yarrington.
3, 2, 1, go.
What's going on, man?
Not much. Wow, nice to meet you guys on Zoom.
Yeah.
You too, brother.
Mel, Aaron, Apple.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Nailing it.
Right on,
Okay.
Graham.
For everybody listening today, we have artist Graham Yarrington with us. He is the artist behind the Jerry Garcia
Hey.
Hampton cover. And you've probably seen his posters out in the wild with people like Elton John and My Morning Jacket and Phish
The
and
Divided Sky.
other amazing shit. And he is
Mhm.
part of the No Simple Road family now.
I love that you are our first guest we've ever had that did our introduction for us.
Yeah.
You knew all three of our names and did it for us.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times people
Damn.
know who we are, but they've never yeah, I like how you did that.
Well,
You
I'm
did-
honored. I was doing a little. Sorry, what's up?
No,
Oh,
go
no,
ahead.
you're good.
Go ahead. You said you were doing a little,
No, I was
research?
just. Yeah, well, I was boning up on the pod, making sure I had your guys' names right, just because I was like, it's the least I could do. They're having me
Oh,
on.
thank you. And
Um,
is Graham our first guest of the year?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
You're-
are.
You're our first interview of the 2023, Graham.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're
Oh,
frozen.
shit. Reese freezing.
I think
wow.
we
What an
have a
honor.
lag in the audio.
Oh shit.
It's an honor for us too, but yeah, we are lagging a little
A
bit.
little
so
tiny
let's
bit.
try to-
It's okay. You know,
we'll get more space in between our.
yeah, you get to think about what you said and embarrass myself more that way. So, Graham, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah.
And I have to say that like how this came together was really kind of tripped out, man. We had like we'd had a little party here at the house, and it was the next morning, and me and my friend Brady were standing on the front porch, and you know, like Jerry Garcia Band is amazing when you're a little hungover, and he was like, "Why don't you put on some Jerry Band?" I was like, "All right," and he said, "Have you ever heard of Graham Yarrington?" And I was like, "No, I'd never heard of him." He's like, "You got to see this artwork he did for the Hampton thing," and so we went through this whole thing, and I followed you on Instagram that morning, and then like maybe a day or so later, we connected and scheduled this. It was very serendipitous.
It was really bizarre timing. Like on your end, that's crazy that your buddy just happened to bring me up. But I know Phil Hanley. Like I'm a fan, and we're internet friends, I would say.
Oh, okay.
And I saw that he was doing, you know, just from looking at the text of the title of your podcast, I was like, oh, it's some sort of Grateful Dead pod I haven't heard of. And yeah, I listened to his episode, and then I listened to the Billy Strings episode, and just liked your vibe. I think I had a lot of friends, you know, obviously being in the jam kind of scene. I think we all have people that have been really close to us who've struggled with like any sort of addiction or problem. So hearing you, Aaron, and Apple talking about how, you know, you were on some hard times in the past, but, you know, managed to, you know, figure it all out. And it just makes me really happy because I had, you know, some friends, all of them lovers of the Grateful Dead, who passed away, like a couple of them from opiate overdoses. And it's just crazy. Like the more time that passes, the more I'm like, it's so insane how much more life there is to live. And like my buddy passed away on my birthday in 2013. So I just realized like a day ago, I'm like, this will be 10 years since then. And I feel like 10 years ago, I hadn't lived any life at all. I mean, I feel like your 20s are kind of like when you ideally figure some shit out. And yeah, so anyway, it makes me happy to see heads doing well and like, you know, promoting the idea that like, if you're, you know, if you're going through something or if you think you're in a hole, like you can always get out of it, especially if you have like friends to help you or good partners, as the case may be.
Yeah. She's an angel, literally and figuratively.
I was fortunate that I never, you know, desired nor had the opportunity to do any hard drugs. And I was always scared of it because my mom put the fear in us, you know, of anything, whether it was like weed or anything heavy. And so when it was easy to help somebody out of their temptation when you don't have any temptation of your own.
Oh yeah. If
we weren't, thankfully we weren't like, you know, down the rabbit hole together, because that's such a hard thing.
Oh yeah.
It's not impossible, but it's not easy. And so I was, you know, luckily and gratefully that wasn't like that in my life, so I can extend the hand to kind of pull someone up and out of that.
Well, also, Graham, what you just said is really, there's a lot of wisdom in what you just said about there's a lot of life. You know what I mean? That's not something that one sees when they're in that hole. It's it's bleak. And I can really, like, it was a long time ago for me. It was over 25 years ago. And I can sit here right now and remember, like, re-feel the feeling of that hopelessness. And it's so total. And it's so hard to, like, to reach out from there, even if you do have a partner or friends or a community around you. And I think that, like, that you picked up on, we're putting that down from No Simple Road, is like, we're all here together and we're doing this life together. And the least we can do is help each other down the road as we go, because we all go through shit. You know what I mean?
I was able to avoid hard drug addiction, but I think what I had that often goes with that is just like a deep depression. And like, you know, I think like suicidal ideations, no matter how trivial the reason, I think the older I get, the more I realize from people's reactions that it's like not entirely normal to have stood on the edge of a building before and like looked off and been like, you know, just had insane thoughts. Whoa. And, you know, luckily I always kind of kept in my head the idea of how guilty I would feel for putting that on the people that care about me, just based on the friends I've lost from ODs and whatever. Like, I've never been the same, and I still need to work through that shit. And yeah.
Dude. And your drawing or painting of that, you losing your best friend, is Apple and I, we didn't look at your art together, but this morning we were talking about it, and he's like, oh, my favorite one. And it was that one. And I was like, oh my God, that's the one that touched me too. It's so sweet and so simple, but it says so much in such a beautiful, it's not, you know, sometimes when you say something, you can sound preachy or, you know, like it's in your face. This was just like such a sweet idea and such a great thought put out on art. It
made me feel better.
Yeah.
Like literally looking at it, it made me feel good inside. And the timing too, I lost my sister in 2012. So it's, you know, it's been a little over a decade. And then when I saw that piece, knew nothing about it. And then when I read, you know, how that came about, it really hit home, and it made me feel good, man.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Thank you for saying that. I mean, it's something that I made when I was seeking that feeling of closure, but couldn't find it. You know, I was like, wow. I want to believe that I shouldn't feel guilty and that I did everything I could and that he still, you know, my buddy still loves me and everything. But it's just so hard, you know, to like let go of all those moments you kind of replay of like, oh, what if this, what if that? And I think I just wanted to make an image that was like, here's what I want, is I want to, like, even if have my hands, my face buried in my hands and I'm crying, I want to be able to pretend that the people I love that have passed away, they're like right behind me with their hand on my shoulder, just like, hey buddy, you'll get through it, we're still here.
Yeah, totally, 100%. And I really do believe that's true, man. I mean, I've had some psychedelic experiences that have, I don't know, taken me out of myself in a really profound and visceral kind of a way with like DMT and stuff like that. And through those experiences, it's not even like faith at this point. It's like understanding that the energy that makes up who we are, what our unique individual piece of the universal whole is, doesn't go away. And I know that it's attracted to the things that it was attracted to always. And so that energy doesn't die. It transforms. And I think those people are continually with us and always standing behind us, brother.
Yeah, man. I've been trying to, so I've had this goal, basically since my first friend passed away, where I wanted to write a children's book about grief and dealing with like sudden deaths at young ages.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Thank you. I mean, I had one publisher on the hook, but then I sent them like my pitch and they were kind of like, nah. But I think that's just because I haven't quite cracked how to get the idea across. And the main concept I had was like, sort of like a black and white story where only the spirits of the lost ones are in color. And there's some sort of like, there's a struggle, and then there's sort of a moment where they hug the spirit or they come to a moment of understanding. And then after that moment, the color is kind of like everywhere in.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
How can that not be a good idea?
Yeah. Whatever publisher that is blew it.
I think, well, dude, honestly, what I pitched was pretty different from that. And like, it was a little bit more like I was doing like a hero's journey kind of concept. But I think since then I was kind of like, what are the core ideas of this story that are most important? And basically what you just said, where like, even though their physical form has disappeared, they're still very much here, and you just kind of have to listen and watch for it and feel for it.
Yep. It's way more like synchronicities and
paying attention too, because sometimes I think that like when people come into your memory or your thoughts, it could be nothing, right? But maybe it's like a specific memory of like, oh yeah, when we went to 7-Eleven and got Slurpees on that hot day or whatever. And maybe it's the feeling, and that entity that is gone now from this earth is like trying to like, I remember my father-in-law, he'd just call me and he didn't know he was going to put me in a good mood, but he did just by calling. And so I feel like memories like that can be like a spirit's way of like giving you something good, like a memory, like, hey, do you want to go to get a burger together? But they can't do it physically, but there's still some level of communication that we can have, because it really does happen. Like we were hanging out the other day and Aaron's stepmom came into our head, and so did Apple's sister. And, we rarely talk about them together, period. But it was so profound in that moment that we were talking that it not only felt like they were there, but it felt like it was supposed to happen. Like we were supposed to remember them for whatever reason. And I just believe that, doing something like that for children, because they're so much closer to spirit than we are, would really help them to conceptualize in their little brains what is happening. Because pictures and words can do so much to a little developing mind, and especially if it's something like heavy or hard to understand, to see something adorable like a cute little picture with a something that is simple could be really helpful in a lot of ways.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, the first like sudden death I dealt with, I remember being like, you know, it's always been apparent that our culture like is afraid to discuss death essentially and anything that surrounds it. But yeah, I guess I was, you know, at 22 years old, I was like, there's really no like go-to literature for this or any sort of like thing that's like you shouldn't read this, it might give you some insight to what you're going through. There's just like really not much of that. And do you guys know who Harris Whittles is?
Yeah,
No.
I do.
Well, I was a fucking huge fan of that guy. I mean, what a bummer loss.
Totally.
But his sister wrote an incredible memoir about, you know, having her brother be in the throes of opiate addiction while also being a super successful writer for television, and would have been uncle to the child that she had shortly after his death. And it's just like, I don't think it's a book that really made me feel like, oh, like I'm okay now, but just reading someone's story that's basically exactly what I went through, and kind of realizing that like anyone who's ever loved an addict in any way has gone through the exact same thing. So it's not like, you know, I'm alone out here dealing with this and like what a crazy thing to happen. It's like, no, everyone feels this way. Everyone feels the guilt and, you know, has the what ifs and whatever. Yeah. Hey, this is random, but I just have to say, Apple, there's something about your voice that A, I love, and B, it kind of reminds me of Philip Seymour Hoffman in Boogie Nights.
You are not the first person to say that.
Wait, Philip Seymour Hoffman or him in Boogie Nights?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Both.
Actually, both. Philip Seymour Hoffman, the looks a lot and everything, but especially like that voice, that persona from that film. Which that's awesome.
Fucking funny, Graham.
I appreciate that because we all have like I kind of have we all have an esteem thing. I don't like to hear my voice. Like when I listen to it's weird hearing yourself. I think I sound weird, but I hear that so much, and I appreciate hearing that.
Dude.
It makes me feel better about speaking.
Yeah,
on the air.
You should feel great about it. Also, now that I'm hearing you talk more, you know who you fucking sound like, dude?
Who?
Jerry.
Shit. Really?
You know, I've heard Jerry's voice described as silvery, and I feel like I'm getting the same.
Wow, you just gave me goosebumps, dude. Well, let me mutual admiration, brother. I wanted to back up because you guys were just saying a lot, but one thing, backing up to like me and Mel talking about the piece we love, you know, your friend, and one thing about your artwork and looking through a lot of the pieces this morning, I had not seen one yet. I was scrolling, found at the bottom that spoke so much about the opiate thing is the hand that's severed with the hypodermic needle in it and like the stitches. Yeah. Like that is so powerful, but all your work is, and looking at it, it's alive. Like the tendrils of there's like channeling going on. It's alive. What's the one that reminded me this morning? Kind of what is it? Gone Too Soon. Like it was kind of like the Bambi one, the fawn with everything. I mean, there's like life, death, everything happening, and it's alive. And then I showed Aaron one of them you did with the black light on it because I wasn't thinking about that. How the way you create and the metallic and stuff when that black light hit your paintings, I want to see them all like that, because then it comes to life even more in a different way. Your artwork is very moving, brother.
Has it always been therapeutic for you, art?
Yeah, for sure. My parents were very like, as when we were young kids, like we were only allowed like TV or screens like with them. And then once we got a little bit older, it was like limited to 1 hour of combined TV, computer, Game Boy per day.
Wow.
So I think just like their aversion to that stuff, and also being a pretty strictly middle class family, that like I just spent a lot of time like alone in my room, like building Legos or drawing or reading comics. And I think just over time, it more and more became like my safe place where like no matter what's happening, like if I can just like doodle a little bit, it makes me feel a little bit better. Even with like social anxiety, like if I'm like hanging out with a bunch of people and I feel kind of weird, if I would have my sketchbook, I'll just pop it out, start doodling, and then it's like, well, I'm basically no longer here.
Dude.
Graham, they've given you such a wonderful coping mechanism, because I can identify with that. Like I love to, my book is not necessarily a sketchbook, but it has become that. I would always have my little book to just write things that I remembered or thought about. But the way that you're talking about using it, like just in a situation, if you have that, it is like another part or another person or another aspect that you can like give your energy to, that helps with whatever else is around you.
Well, I remember as you were just telling us that, like how you grew up, I remember being a little kid. I was maybe like 5 or 6, and like playing with Star Wars figures, and like being in my room a lot, listening to music as a kid, playing with Star Wars shit, Legos, and drawing. And it was another world that I could go to. When things were weird, I could always go there and make it any way I wanted it to be. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. I think that like music played a really important role back then, where like I didn't have, basically I only had a radio to listen to, so I would just put on the oldies station, which was like, they do a lot of like Frankie Valli and stuff,
Yeah.
but also the Beatles and the Beach Boys, which were like my 2 first like obsessions, as far as like, this isn't normal level of just like, oh, I like how this sounds. It's like, I need to know everything about this and I need to hear all of it.
Right.
So I think that kind of prepped me for when I was in like 7th grade, I think. And my buddy that I grew up with down the street from me, he had a Grateful Dead Greatest Hits album. I know, so good. Yeah, we just put that on and I was like so kind of like bewildered by it. And
Yeah.
small precursor to that was that under a train bridge that you had to pass under to get into the town I grew up in, someone spray painted "A Box of Rain Will Ease the Pain."
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that when I was like super young, like, just learned to read basically. And I remember just like really internalizing it and being like, that's it sounds so emo to me. And I assumed it was from like a hard metal song or something. And then years later, I heard "Box of Rain." I'm like, this is one of the most beautiful songs ever. And then you hear the backstory of it and it's like, I think the reason the lyric carries so much weight is he was writing it about his dad who was passing away. But yeah, anyway, they also came through Rochester a fair amount. I think there's like a pretty big appreciation for jam music here. So, yeah, man, it slid right in.
I'm curious about something too. You're talking about like music and stuff. Can you like what was like your first shows you went to?
Oh, dude, they're not great ones.
We all start somewhere.
My first
Graham.
show was the Cars, dude. All right.
I mean, it's tough hearing like Phil come on talk about seeing Jerry, and I'm like, oh, I wish I saw him lift his leg, but okay. Yeah, I think my first show ever was the band OAR.
Yeah.
At the Armory here in Rochester.
All right.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I just remember like being so sick of standing by the end of it. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, what I always think when I see guys that are doing art like you're doing, I always wonder, especially when they'll do something for like Jerry Garcia Band or Phish or whatever, like you're a music fan first and an artist, and then you get asked to do this project. Like, what does that feel like to like, you've got the gig now and now you've got to produce something for this amazing historical moment?
Well, if I had thought of it that way, it would have been more difficult.
Good. That's why I don't have that gig.
Well, I mean, the Dead and specifically Jerry Band, I've like, I got extra into JGB at the beginning of college and like got a bunch of shows and, figured out a couple that I'm like crazy about, and just kind of like unlocked a love for Jerry Garcia Band that like is almost equal to the Dead. It's just different, and it's like just like let's set a stage so Jerry can rip, which is sick. But Phish, I kind of like, I think I saw like 13 shows, and the last one I went to was the Super Bowl at Watkins Glen. And I feel like, I don't know, I just sort of like had my fill. I also was obsessively trying to get on their roster of artists like as a college student. And obviously I wasn't ready and my work wasn't really quite there. But I think between just like feeling very rejected and kind of like, they're never going to want your shit, you should just not try. I kind of just gave up and sort of like, not in any relation to wanting to make art for them, but just like listen to Phish less, because I was living in Brooklyn and started going to like smaller shows at smaller venues, because it just, it's cool to have that intimacy that you don't get in an arena all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really believe that it's because I stopped trying so hard to get them to notice me that it worked out.
You played coy, and then all of a sudden you're the hot guy that people want.
Well done.
Yeah, basically.
Good job.
But man, I mean, there were so many times that I would like look at their posters and just be like, if I could just do one, I will feel like I have made it.
Aww.
And like the first email I got from the Phish art director, I like immediately texted my buddy who like he's the one I first listened to the Dead with. And it's just losing my shit. And getting to work with them not just one time, I mean, is crazy. And I made like 2 official Grateful Dead shirts, and those were both, the first one was kind of like, holy shit, like I cannot believe this. All this is to say that like the Hampton box set, when I got that email, I started crying.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah,
That's
Graham.
that's understandable.
Proper. Hell yeah.
Cause like I just, I think it just got me thinking about what we were talking about at the beginning, like the people that I've lost or that we've lost over the years, where it's like I'm no better of an artist or person than any of my friends who passed away, and just you had a little moment of like, if I could get this from just hanging on this long, like it's just crazy. And it far like exceeds any dream I could have had for myself. Cause it's just like, best case scenario, I'd be like, I'd love to do album art for them,
Yes.
like a single image. So getting to do the whole fucking thing, and it was a lot of work because I did all the graphic design for the box as well. But ultimately, I was glad because it was like, this is all up to me. I'm making the print ready file, so like no one's gonna fuck with it. And if there's any errors, it's kind of on me. And if it looks dope, it's also on me.
Yeah,
So,
man.
Yes.
That's fucking cool, Graham. That feeling, I know what you're talking about like getting the email and crying. There was back before the pandemic, I think it was 2019. We podcasted from Terrapin Crossroads before it closed, and
whoa.
I remember Mel and I were driving down our street, leaving the house, and I was just bawling. I was like, holy shit. It's like we got invited to Phil's living room to perform, and they're trusting us to do it right and do it well. And like this thing that's been a part of my life for 30 whatever years is allowing me a seat at the table for a moment. And it was so big and such like a crazy thing that was happening. I couldn't believe it. And that feeling of making it and like, wow, we actually did it. You know what I mean? And
that childlike anticipation and nervousness.
That too. But
I remember when we were setting, it was like almost kind of shaky, but not in a bad way. Like it's like energy going through you.
Yeah.
And we were setting up, and it's like, oh my gosh, we are actually here doing this.
yeah, it was wild. And there's something very special about the Grateful Dead community and the family that surrounds it, and the way that the business side of it works, and how it almost like selects people in the community on its own. It feels like you're just doing your thing, and you're doing it with positive intent and putting your love out into the world. And this thing is wired to respond to that in some weird way, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like it's a world that feeds into itself. And I also, in my experience, it's pretty unique for any art director to care at all if whoever's making the art likes what it's for.
Shit.
So
Was that a thing?
it's like, I mean, it's just, a lot of companies, a lot of bands, or just whatever the art's for, they hire a company that sources the artwork for them. So they're not, the band that you're working for is one of maybe 100 clients they have. So there really is no, they want the work to be good, but whether or not you listen to the band, they have no stake in that. Whereas for the Jerry box, the Grateful Dead projects, like really any Dead associated thing, they really like it if you are a fan, and it like amplifies the experience for everyone, which is I think why they keep it kind of keeps feeding itself because everyone's hyped, everyone's hyped to be there.
There's also something that is unspoken in the Grateful Dead community. And for somebody that's a good artist or even a great artist that doesn't listen to or hasn't been a part of that scene, even if they've put out an awesome picture, the spirit is left out of it. And so somebody who's been to a show, who's been around that or has grown up listening to it, there's this little bit something extra in your finished product, whether it's your art or a podcast or, whatever, that a person that hasn't been through that just, it's not a negative thing. It's just like they don't have that.
It's like being on the inside of an inside joke.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
exactly. Like those little, idiosyncrasies or those little ways that you can connect with people without, being telepathically and stuff like that, or how the song means multiple things to you at one time. Like if you don't ever go to a concert and feel that, you can't really convey that in your art because you don't have it to give.
Mm.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, I wonder if you guys will agree with me about this, since you've been, into the Dead for considerably longer than me, also alive a little bit longer maybe. But like, I've always felt like the longer I keep it close to my heart, the more I genuinely believe that, like, I've read as many biographies about the band and its members as I have been able to get my hands on. And, even just if you watch like the Long Strange Trip, that doc, it's like very apparent that behind the veneer of sunshine and happiness, there was always a darkness.
Yep.
And like, especially just for our God, Jerry, he's like, at the same time, he's like just like this shining sun, but he's also like a dark moon. When you hear about what he was like behind the scenes, like, he's like, yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting. And I feel like this is why the people who really, really, really love the Dead, a lot of us have like a bit of like a darker piece to us, or an awareness of darkness in the world.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
That was the thing that got me about Jerry. I mean, apart from the world exploding psychedelic experience that I had at my first show, was it was sweet darkness. It wasn't aggressive, and it wasn't angry, and it wasn't mean, but it was dark.
The way that I see it, or like my interpretation is that it was honest.
Yeah, that's
and the thing is that, I think we all want to imagine ourselves in a field of beautiful flowers and running carefree and having this elation, but those moments absolutely happen. But then there's like, if you're old enough to remember the Smurfs, when Gargamel comes in and it's like the music changes and it gets dark and like the wind comes in and now everything's like that. In life, we all have darkness in our relationships, in ourself, in our families. And because Grateful Dead was such an all-encompassing community, it also embraced it and accepted that darkness. And so it wasn't something to like shun or put away or even hide. It was something that was celebrated and was like, yep, that's a poor guy that freaking, yeah, he's a tragedy, but we still love him, dude. And he can come, I'll give him a piece of fruit when he comes by.
Listen to Wharf Rat or listen to Stella Blue and tell me that there isn't, or Black Muddy River, and tell me that there isn't darkness there. And talking, like Mel just said, that's really well said, babe. Like, honest. It's not trying to bullshit you or paint a pretty picture of the struggle. The struggle is there, but there's also the ability to speak it. And I think that's like, honestly, man, like right from the jump when we got on the call with you today, what we're talking about is that the ability to share that thing makes us feel that we're not alone. And that is what creates the community that holds this whole thing together, is shared experience and understanding that we're not alone in this crazy, long, strange trip that we're on.
And it also, the Grateful Dead's music also offers comfort. You can sit there and sing Black Muddy River or Stella Blue laughing and crying. Like, you can work out so many emotions that are both dark and light in a song. So it's like, it's being honest about the culture and about our struggles as humanity, but then it's like, let's sing about it together. Let's dance it out. Let's hold hands with our neighbors. Let's share a freaking joint. Like, it's not just desolate and feeling like you're at the end of a road and there's nowhere else to go. It's like, no, man, we're all having a shitty day, but come over here and let's dance and let's put on a fun outfit and let's go for it.
And that's what it is to me. All like what you guys are saying, it's all encompassing of everything. Like there is beauty and life in death. There is death in life and beauty, and it encompasses everything. Like Melda said, that's one thing about their catalog. Every single song they've done can touch you in the way you need it to when you put it on, when you're in that mood. If you're down or you're up, like Stella it can make you cry and dig down into your darkest parts, but it can also be a celebration at times when you're feeling that and needing that. And just knowing that he was so, everybody's human. He was so human and so idolized. And like when he opened his mouth, just nothing else mattered.
Worlds exploded.
Yeah. And it brought so many people together, to this day.
Can you imagine the strength it takes to, like, inner strength it takes to be feeling so shitty inside and go out in front of thousands upon thousands of people and perform? Like, I don't even want to call it a performance, because I don't know that it was performing, but like being honest about who he was in the moment of music. And like, when you feel like shit, you want to retreat, you want to hide, you don't want to be in front of people, like almost like, showing all your stuff. But nevertheless, him and everybody else did that. And that's one of the wonderful things about the Grateful Dead that I've always loved, is that, no matter how you're feeling, you're accepted there, period.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an amazing community. I can't imagine what my life would be like if I had never found it. This is maybe a weird comparison to make, but the only thing that I feel is similar is the community of like traditional tattooers, that like there's a lot of people who do like kind of the weird type of stuff that I like, and like kind of like everyone's friends, and like it's just, I think like when you're there, I don't know, being someone that clearly is collecting tattoos, I think maybe that makes everyone feel more at ease, because it's kind of honest. It's like, no matter who you are as a person, I would be here wanting your work. Are you like, let's just hang. And, a lot of the times I'm a very chatty tattoo client. I love talking. I have a lot of questions. Yeah.
Are you learning to tattoo, or are you just a collector?
I'm just a collector. It looks really hard. It looks so hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I've had like people say they would like let me tattoo them. Obviously, I'd probably like to do a quick shitty one on my upper thigh first. But it's just, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I'm just like, I'll leave it to the professionals and focus on what I know.
When I was younger, I tattooed
I've got a couple of pieces from Aaron on me, and it's funny. We both looked over each other when you said, "I'll start with like a shitty one on my upper thigh."
I have a huge shitty tattoo on his
upper thigh that he did to himself.
Yeah, it's like, Graham, if I could explain it like anything, tattooing is like trying to draw with a ballpoint pen on the surface of the water.
Oh shit. Yeah, I mean, even just like spreading the skin properly so that you can do it. It's just the whole, I don't know. I have enormous respect for tattooers and tattooing as a craft. And I just kind of I feel like I revere it so much that like, I'm honored anybody would be like, yeah, you can try tattooing me, but I'm also like, you should get one from this guy. Yeah. He's really good.
And it blows my mind every time, like the people that do portraits.
Oh yeah, dude.
That look so, it's like that's not a canvas that you can like take your time with, and like, I mean,
if you can, and you can't erase anything.
No, and it's on a person that moves. Like Aaron did one on my back. I love it. It's my favorite one. It's the only one. It means a lot to me. Did it? I was 19 and you were like 17. It's the built to last one with the sword. And there was time Aaron was learning, and I fucking jumped because he was hitting nerves, and he's like, "Oh shit, brother." That there's mistakes in it, but it also symbolizes like where we were at the time. And I just loved I was like, dude, I want the built to last. That means a lot to me.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
But to this day, you look at the work that's out there now. Some of these artists.
That's why I stopped.
With the space. And I mean, they make it look like somebody's arm is fucking missing and there's space in there and shit.
It's crazy. But Graham, you said you revere those guys. But I have to tell you, bro, what you do with paint and watercolor is equally as fascinating.
Yeah.
Something
to be revered.
Yeah.
For sure.
To be able to fine line watercolor or like control where that's going.
I love that, Graham, so much.
It's bananas to watch. I'm an artist too, by the way, but like that's bananas to see. I can't even fathom how you do it, man.
I was telling him today, we were watching, I was like, okay, watercolor specifically, you put the brush down and then it spreads. And so to be able to know where and how it's going to spread, that is, to me, that it looks like magic. It's such, and then to see the fine line painting that you're doing, and there's multiple like layers of color, and one's pink and yellow and green, and to have them so neatly, perfectly stacked against each other, it just says a lot about the time that one would take to do something. Like, you can't rush that. That's not like, oh, I'm going to whip that up quick. It just says a lot about that detail-oriented nature, and it's such a treat to watch you do that.
Oh, thank you so much. And that's a good point you bring up, that it's not something that can be rushed. And when I was in college, I was making work that looked very different from this, and it was kind of just like cartoons, but painted ones. And I had a professor look at my line work on the piece I did, and he was kind of like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Your line work looks like a little sloppy. I think you just need to like have more patience. I was like, okay, that's like the most simple and complicated advice. But I think he really had a point in that, like, there's certain things that you just like can't rush through, where in most, if not all of the paintings I make, even if I'm like, this one doesn't matter that much, so I'm going to like do it as fast as I can, I still end up sitting down and treating it the exact same way I do everything. I think it also, I got good advice from a different professor once, where he was looking at the piece I made for the class, and one of the corners, there was just kind of like nothing there really. And he was like, yeah, like when you're designing something, every inch of the image matters and builds the image as a whole. So if you have a corner that you barely considered, it's going to take points off the whole piece for anyone that's looking at it pretty much. So I think I really internalized that as like, every inch of this needs to be considered when I'm sketching. Every inch needs to be considered when I'm doing the ink wash, and it all needs to be considered when I'm doing the acrylic wash.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
That's also a life lesson,
That's what
Graham.
yep.
That's a huge, this is a silly thing, but the other day I was just like, it's 2023. You start to kind of move your house around, shift things. And we had a bookshelf that I had placed on the ground, and I was just looking at that corner, and I decided to elevate the bookshelf and put something else down on the ground that actually showed the floor. And it made such a like overall, it felt like a big sigh in the living room where I did this. It felt like there was like all this extra space, and it was also aesthetically pleasing too. And so I just bring that up because treating like your house like a painting or like your art, like it's every part of your life you can have that type of patience and that type of like
for sure
attention to. And not that you need to go overboard and start freaking out over every square inch of your home, but something like that small and trivial made a enormous like I said, sigh or difference just by paying attention to it. And so that's a really cool thing as an artist, that you're constantly paying attention to smaller things, and small things make big things happen.
Yeah, I really relate to that. Somehow I'm able to miss lots of things as well. But yeah, I just relate in the sense of like decorating a house. My intense focus with designing paintings translates in a kind of difficult way to decorating a space, especially when I'm cohabitating with my lovely partner, because I'm like, everything, this wall needs to have one piece this size, another one this size, and then another one to bookend it, and then it'll be good. And she's like, I just wanted the art on the wall.
This is funny. You just explained it. And Christmas Day in our house,
we have a lot of well now we all do, but I've always collected posters, and we had needed to redo our we have a really tall vaulted ceiling upstairs, and
I'll send you a picture of it when
but we to collectively the three of us come to when we end up getting to the point of completion, we all agree on it, but getting to that point is a clusterfuck of figuring like, no, I think that metallic one that there, and
you have to have balance between the circles through the middle, bro.
And I'm more uptight. I'm not uptight. I'm more about the symmetrical.
You're uptight about it.
I think Mel's a little more. Mel's a little more like your partner. Like, I just want the fucking beautiful artwork on the wall. Can we come to an agreement and make this happen?
Graham, this is the short part of before this happened was this wall had been needing to be done for so long, and I purposely took a poster out of the middle of the wall and left everything to disrupt it exactly, to make it so that we could
she made us have to do it,
finally do it, and then and nobody else was doing it, so I finally was like, well, fuck that.
That poster,
Apple was gone.
That poster was missing for like a month and a half.
Way more than a month and a half.
We had friends coming over being like, what the fuck's with the hole in the middle of the wall? There's nothing there.
And I'm like, well, until we do it, I'm not putting anything there. And then when he came home, he went out for Christmas for a moment. We came back, all the posters were on the floor.
On the floor.
And I'm like, fuck that.
I go, babe, it's Christmas. It's not poster time.
But it worked. We pulled together within a half hour. The wall was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, I feel like I've heard the exact thing from my partner where it's blank, it's not poster time, and I'm like, it's always poster time.
It's always poster
Yeah.
time.
Now, I want to segue into something because we're talking about wall. This has been on my mind. I wanted to ask you. Yeah, like, okay, you're you have your studio, you're doing all the artwork you do, and then all of a sudden you have to take that. I'm wondering how it happened the first time, and how do you take your artwork? All of a sudden somebody wants you to do an entire wall, because your murals are amazing.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's really the area of my practice that I need to put the most work into, because it's a new medium to me, spray paint, still, compared to working with a brush.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to shout out two mural artists. One, Squid Liquor. They are just an incredible force of nature and just such cool ideas in their murals, and also amazing skill. And the other is Steen Jones, and his murals are like, it's like Sailor Jerry tattoos, kind of like as a mural. Okay. And his technique of like line work combined with like using aerosol gradients to like replicate spit shading and tattoos. So I looked at his work and I thought, like, if he's making it look like ink in that way, maybe I could make it look like ink in the way that I like to work. So I bought some spray paint, and this dude I knew in Brooklyn took me to an abandoned building somewhere in Queens, and I was there for maybe like 5 hours, just like trying to learn how to spray properly,
to control the can and all that.
Yeah, and I ended up painting a wolf that day that turned out like pretty good, decent, and then this woman, Tracy Glazer, who was my graphic design teacher in high school, she hired me to paint a mural at this elementary school where she's now the principal, which was, really felt like throwing me a bone at the time. So I made like my first professional mural for her. And then the day I finished, she asked me if I could come paint another wall the next day.
Cool.
Damn.
So, it was a ton of work. Painting murals is very, very physical. And, it after doing it enough times, it gives me the same rush as getting a tattoo. So as you can imagine, I love painting them. But yeah, I mean, I just have slowly kind of continued getting as many mural jobs as I can. Also in Brooklyn, I painted my rooftop like a ton of times, and like even buffed my own mural a couple times to repaint it something different. So I was kind of doing that to sort of like keep my knife sharpened, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the mural I just painted in Palo Alto, which, by the way, it's next to the former site of the Keystone Palo Alto.
Oh, shit.
So they have like that building, the new one there has like a portrait of Jerry in the lobby. And I was like, fuck yeah. But yeah, some awesome person that follows me, their friends were opening this tabletop gaming store, and he recommended me to these folks, and they reached out wanting the mural. This was in July, I think. And they wanted it in September, I believe. And like I was, I pitched them a number that I was like, this is what I think I deserve, but we'll see if they go for it. Because I had a mural job years ago, like in 2018 or something, where my friend's uncle said he wanted a mural for his huge like loft in downtown LA. He's a very wealthy gentleman, and I sketched up stuff for him and did all this work, and then gave him like a detailed proposal and asked for X amount. And he basically was like, I'll give you like 8% of that.
Whoa.
I hope you didn't.
Not in those words. He just threw me back a very insulting number. And, you know, basically was like, I thought you were going to fly to Los Angeles, paint me a mural, and then fly home for $2,000. And I was like, oh, and take home nothing? Cool. So yeah, basically I pitched the same number to the new clients or last year. And when they said yes, I was kind of like, hey, I finally got my due. I can get what I deserve.
Stick to your guns.
Art, it's such a weird thing too, because art is nebulous. Like the value of the piece is based upon the appreciation of the person purchasing it and the work that the artist put together. Do you know what I mean? So if the person purchasing the piece isn't feeling the work that you put into it, it's not worth it. So, and every art piece that an artist creates is their baby. So it's hard. It's really hard. And I wanted to say this to you, man. Like, I saw one of your posts that, you said I think it was 5 years ago you quit working a day job and started doing art full time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to tell you, dude, congratulations, Graham. Like, fuck yeah, brother. It's terrifying to do that. And I've been putting it off now for ever. 51 years. And
well, you know what? They're from a different generation. And, you know, I think that with the older you are, like, you know, past your 40s and stuff like that, you are kind of breaking away from what you've learned. So it takes a lot longer to kind of do things that are out of the ordinary. But for somebody who's younger, who doesn't have those rules, who didn't live by those rules, may have an easier time accessing that confidence because they didn't have to grow up thinking that it was one way or another.
Was it difficult to make the decision?
Yes, it was. Of course, both my parents, being parents, were like, you really should keep some sort of job. But, you know, that's not lack of encouragement, really. It's just like, practical. We don't want you to come asking for money in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and I mean, they don't really have money to give me, so I get it. But yeah, I mean, I was working at an ice cream shop full time. I was waking up at like 4:30 or 5 to get there by 6. And I fucking hated my life. Just like, I love food and I love cooking and I love working with food. And I actually, part of me does love working in kitchens, but through mismanagement, personal life stuff, I just wasn't having a good time. And on the side, the whole time having this full-time job, I was making art as much as I could, submitting to things, you know, getting a couple like features and things here and there, just like blogs or whatever. And then I went out to Los Angeles for this thing called the Cho Show. Do you guys know who David Cho is?
Yeah.
He did this thing where he was like, I'm doing like an immersive experience and you have to apply to it. And if you're accepted, like, oh, it's a big deal and yada, yada. There's more to that story, but I'll power through it. And I went to LA and I ended up hanging out with my friend who was a classmate at Pratt. Her name's Kristen Lu Wong, and she's an incredible artist and illustrator. And I was hanging out with her and her partner and just talking about art and talking about my job and wanting to leave it. And she was kind of like, if you'll be amazed by the strides you take when you leave your job. And those strides will, I don't know if she said this, but those strides will help make up for any lost time or income from you leaving whatever job. And so I get back to New York and I had lunch with an old professor who's just an above and beyond type guy. So he'll still have lunch with old students.
That's awesome.
And he was kind of like, I was just telling him about my experience in LA. And he also had my friend as a student and telling him what she said and describing like my art career is kind of ramping up and it's starting to be more work than I can handle doing a full-time job. And the teacher goes like, the parent in me wants to tell you to be safe and keep your job, but the artist in me is, I think all signs are pointing to yes. It seems like this is your time to take a jump. And, you know, I had another professor, this awesome fucking guy named Mr. No, who I saw him over the summer at school once, and he gave me this off the cuff kind of just wisdom about life and like being an artist. And he was just like, luck is a huge part of this. And there's going to be a time when the train pulls up and you need to know to get on it at that moment. And I think that, yeah, just that all those things kind of laid a foundation for me to have the confidence of like, this feels like that moment. And I don't know when else it would be, if not now. So I went for it and had a part-time job helping being an artist assistant for a little bit, but he ran out of stuff for me to do and had to let me go. So then I got another part-time job at a fabrication shop with my buddy. But, you know, ultimately left that to be more poor, but get to make more art. And yeah, it was really stressful living strictly month to month for a long, long time. You know, basically 4 years, or it wasn't until oddly the pandemic that I was like started to stabilize a little.
That's so weird. I was wondering that today, actually, because when I read that, I was like, I wonder how the pandemic affected him. And then I thought, well, people were home paying more attention to stuff like that. So maybe it helped.
Well, yeah, that, and also like opening up unemployment to a much larger group of people. I think me and like, I don't know how many other artists for the first time in their life got to just like have money kind of taken care of in a way and get to just like focus on doing their thing. And I think like that little boost, it was like the first time I ever had a decent amount of money in savings. And obviously that goes up and down, but you know, ever since then, I've just been able to have a better grasp of things. I also feel like it might just line up with like, you know, the pandemic was when I did my first art for Phish. So I'm sure it's no coincidence that ever since then, things have slowly been picking up.
Yeah, dude,
we're proud of you,
yeah,
Graham.
man, I'm proud of you, brother.
Yes.
We really are. At such a young age, you know, like you've taken some really big risks and have had some really hard early life lessons, and you had some really great parenting, it sounds like, as well. And so all of those things combined, you know, in addition to your natural talent and ability to take small and large risks, is a really great person that we're talking to today. And I just want to say thank you, because your art is, to me, so playful and adorable, but serious.
Thank you so much, Mel.
Yeah, man. When I saw your art, I was like, oh my God, like it feels like a baby that I want to hold.
It's that sweet darkness.
And then it's like kind of like these little monsters and like, oh, these cute little monsters.
He's a monster.
But it's serious. I don't want to demean it. It just has such a lighthearted, sweet feel to it. But the messages and the messaging behind it is also very serious, and it just is very unique and refreshing to see your art, and I really appreciate it, and thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. And Aaron, I'm going to keep Sweet Darkness in my head as I feel like I've never heard it, the Dead or my work summed up that way, and I really like it.
Good. Yeah, man. It is. And I wonder, like, how much of one is in the other kind of thing. Like, if that is your process, like your brain's way of putting that vibration back out into the world through your art, I think maybe so. And it's cool. And I think that's what, like, with folks like me, when I see it, that's what resonates with me, is like, oh, I know this. You know what I mean?
Also, I love your long legs and long arms on stuff.
That's one of Mel's
It's one of my favorite. You drew this one little tiny, it's in one of your photos, and it's not even the main character. The little adorable Dracula is my favorite thing. It is I love him, and he's like a tiny little thing inside of a gorgeous photo or a gorgeous image, but I just have to say that because he's the sweetest little thing I've seen in a long time.
Thank you so much. I remember painting that, and I was like, all right, the pumpkin monster is scary as fuck, but the trick-or-treaters are going to be adorable.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nice job. I got that out of there.
I wanted to say thank you also for giving us some of your time, for sharing yourself with us in the world and what you do, and making me have feels from what you do, and also making me feel a little better about my voice, brother.
Right on, Jerry.
Dude, you have an amazing voice. We all love it.
I can't unhear the Jerry thing now, man.
The last question that I did want to know is, what was your first tattoo?
It was a dagger that I drew, that my friend, who it was his first year tattooing, he put it on me.
Okay, hold on.
And
I'm going to turn the video back on. Turn your video back on. I want to see. Can we see it? Is it somewhere we could see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Oh, hey.
Hey. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have a favorite?
Wow, that's a tough.
That's a toughie. Can I show you my stomach?
Yeah.
I have a pretty crazy stomach tattoo.
Yeah,
All right.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, what?
Oh, shit, dude.
Wow.
Talk about those old timey tattoos.
Yeah, I got a
shit.
wild chest.
For everybody out there, go to his Instagram.
What's on
see
Graham, what's on the top of that skull, the way that it's coming over? Like, what is that?
It's a ladder?
It's there's like a rainbow.
Oh, whoa.
And then it turns into smoke and a ladder. That's a tattoo. The stomach's by Eddie Deutsch and the chest is by Aaron Carmody. And he made this, he kind of tailored the sketch for me, and it's like man's journey is what's the outside of the skull. I love tattoos, man.
Yeah, they're fucking great. They are fucking great. You have
dude, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man, of course.
My first podcast ever.
What?
And,
oh shit!
Right. Yeah, it's not going to be your last, Graham.
No, it won't be your last for sure. Do you have any plans of coming out west anytime soon, the Pacific Northwest?
So I, always wanted. I've never been to Portland. I want to go there, and my partner's from Long Beach, but essentially hasn't properly visited any part of California since she was a kid. And she's never been to Northern California, which is just good shit.
Yeah, good shit.
It is.
So I think, we got a puppy 2 days ago. So
you're not going anywhere, Graham.
I got my hands full, but we're coming out as soon as possible. Yeah.
Well, when you do, I'll send you my number, man. Hit us up. You got a place to come crash.
Will do. And send me a mailing address. I want to shoot you guys a little print.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks,
We'd love
man.
it.
We'd love
Hang it up proudly.
Yeah, man. Enjoy
Have
the
an
rest of
awesome
your
day,
Saturday,
Graham.
man.
Thank you. It was great talking with you guys.
Talk to you
Lots
soon,
of
brother.
love.
Thank you, Graham.
Right on.
Wow, man. You know,
What a feel-good conversation.
Yeah, like it started with talking about real shit immediately, and just what a gem. What a great fucking guy, man.
And what a great his
lucky
work.
are his parents.
We could obviously we could have gone on like right at the end. I wanted to say again when he brought up like congratulations on getting the new companion, the little puppy, because that's another one of his pieces of work. When he lost his dog, the sweet painting, the sweet like artwork that comes out of him when a lot of it is dealing with loss and pain.
What an amazing way to channel
a beauty to it. Yeah, he brings something to it that I haven't seen in artwork.
You know, it didn't sound like growing up was easy. It sounded like his parents were pretty strict, and in the moment, that sucks. When you're a kid, it's fucking hard.
Yeah,
and you know whatever that makes you feel, it makes you feel. But like inadvertently, they gave him his life's gift. They forced him.
It
to
allowed him
find
to
his
hone
gift.
his skill that maybe otherwise, when you're watching TV for 4 hours a day or playing internet, not playing it, but like video games or whatever, you don't.
Yeah, playing internet.
Yeah, you
You
can't
just sounded so old.
No, I like that
playing internet.
But that kind of brings it into a.
But yeah, like you're not going to be doing things like that are like analog. You know what I'm saying? It takes so much time away, and hours slip by so quickly that you're not going to sit down with a line drawing for 4 hours. It's just
You're
not.
watching somebody else's creativity and
exactly.
you're being entertained instead of entertaining yourself and creating a world.
Dude, being a parent is so hard because you're trying to think of the long game, and the kid is living in the now, and there's no long game. Everything's for right now, and it's frustrating, especially if you are not allowed to stick up for yourself or talk, or if you're, I'm not
like
saying
your
that,
mom, shut up.
Yeah, like my mom, like, be fucking quiet or whatever. But like, being able to have that discipline, whether you wanted it or not, years later, to be able to look back and be like, wow, I was able to create so many things from that.
And also, like,
it's a special thing.
Getting the opportunity to talk to people like Graham and I don't know why, but like Dogs in a Pile comes to mind, Eggy comes to mind, Daniel Donato comes to mind. The vibe of the scene is in really good, solid hands. Like, these folks have a really grounded and real understanding of what the thing is. It's not high-minded. They're not deifying anybody. They really get it, is what I'm trying to say. They
love it.
And love it. Yeah.
Well,
and are taking
the
care
love
of it.
alive.
But you had asked that question, like, about having that work for Dead or Phish and how important, and like, that was a perfect response. Well, if I would have thought about it that way, it probably would have been so hard. Like, the fact that when you're younger, you're just more acting instead of contemplating about what you're going to do. And that in that moment, all that time that you think about something to when you put it out, so many things can happen to prevent you from putting it out. But if you just like write the poem and speak it, or draw the art and show it, in that moment, it's so pure and unfettered, instead of like, well, if I put this piece of art, are people going to like it, or they're going to like this color? And so we're that ability to just shoot and just do it is something that I really admire about the younger generation.
Yeah. And
a lot.
I'm just so fucking impressed with the artwork, man. Like,
this is my artwork for Graham.
I wish you guys could see Mel.
Hell yeah.
She drew Graham a little caricature of him, and he's wearing a t-shirt, and the t-shirt says "Art Helps."
And he's got the long limb that, like you're talking about, the hand reaching up, painting.
Be patient with your lines. I love the Garcia Band. Heroin is not for me. Squid liquor.
Shout out to Squid Liquor.
Oh, okay. I'm a good worker. Legos, comics, and drawing. Cute.
I like that way what he said, like squid liquor, that they're amazing, and it's like that's an awesome name.
Hell yeah.
You're gonna be pretty. You gotta be pretty rad to back up a name like Squid Liquor.
Hey, Squid Liquor. Hey.
Thanks, Graham.
Yeah, Graham.
Yes, thank you.
Right
Graham.
on, brother.
Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah.
First of all, that was awesome. You know, we would have never had you on had you not reached out. So thank you for being bold. And we appreciate that kind of behavior around here.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
For reals. And for everybody out there, go follow him on Instagram. Somebody give me the tag. I know.
Okay. Well,
I'm blowing it.
We're going to give it to you right now. It takes forever, but
yeah,
it's okay.
Here's 3 people using their thumbs.
It's Graham Yarrington, GrahamYarrington. So Graham Yarrington on Instagram. And you can follow his beautiful work that he's posted previous, some little things from his life, some stickers. It's amazing.
And there's a picture of him with his shirt off, and you can see the tattoo on his stomach and his chest, the tiger.
And it has the link to the GrahamYarrington.com where you can go. There's several places to purchase some of his work that's for sale.
And he's a sweetheart. So remember that.
I can't. I really can't unhear it.
Thanks again, Graham, for making me feel good about my voice. I guess I need to start listening to everybody.
Yeah, you do. And everybody, we will be back on Monday with more stuff and things. And until then, take care of each other, man.
And you know what? Lock yourself in your room and make a cute art piece.
Okay, yeah, do that. Smile at stranger.
Try it. Just see what you come up with.
And safety third. And, recycle. Because it's just easy. Don't be lazy. All right?
Yeah, don't be lazy.
We love you.
Love you guys. See you next
y'all.
week. Peace.
It's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth of melody of a new dawn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient. Or haven't you learned it? No simple road. Shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The reality is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarity that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
This is the story of Whitney Houston.
This is the story of Kurt Cobain.
Of George Michael, of Otis Redding, of Amy Winehouse, of Michael Hutchence, Bob Marley. This is the story of Prince.
It's a new podcast series
about how they died, why they died, and why we're still talking about them so long after.
It's like nothing you've ever heard before.
It's storytelling.
But it's more than that, because rock stars,
they tell us how we feel. They change our mood.
They change the clothes we wear, the people we hang out with,
the way we remember things.
It's them who give us those ludicrous moments, the ones where you're
jumping around, singing your heart out, feeling understood.
And it's those moments we'll help you remember, the ones you're thinking about right now.
That feeling.
That feeling.
It's coming soon from Crowd Network.
Just search for Death of a Rock Star on your podcast app.
And subscribe now.